Hello students, today we will continue with the chapter Central Tendency. In the last video we have done direct method to calculate mean. There are three methods to calculate mean. One is direct method, second is shortcut, and third one is step deviation. Step deviation is the next step to shortcut method. So shortcut method is a base for the step deviation method. In this shortcut method, it is little different from the direct method. Direct method may we just calculate x or multiply x with the f, but in this one thing is very different, that is we have to take assumed mean. Assumed mean is different than the calculated mean. ਜਿਹੜਾ mean ਅਸੀਂ calculate ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ that is calculated one. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ series ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ assume ਕਰੀਦਾ that is known as the assumed mean. Basically, this assumed mean is taken to ease the calculations. When the calculations or the data is quite difficult or numbers are more, then to ease that we take calculations and we take deviations. That stands for D. Deviations means ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ original data ਤੋਂ deviate ਹੋ ਜਾਈਦਾ, site ਤੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਈਦਾ. So you have easier number of terms and you can calculate easily. So first step is to take assumed mean. So shortcut method, individual series. First step, we will take assumed mean. Assumed mean can be any number, can be the first, can be the last, but generally we take it in the middle value. Chida number middle te stand karda, in between, we generally take that. So like in this sum, we have taken 40 as a assumed mean. Assumed mean is 40. Now we will find deviation. To find deviations, always we have to subtract assumed mean from the x. Deviation the formula x minus assumed mean. Agar tusi assumed minus x karta, sum will be wrong. So x minus assumed mean, like 20 minus 40 is 20, 30 minus 40 is minus 10, 40 minus 40 is 0, 50 minus 40 is plus 10, 60 minus 40 is plus 20. Now we will add negative term separately and positive term separately. In this case, the total of negative and positive term is same. So summation D will be equal to 0. Remember, we have to add negative and positive terms separately, deviation separately, and their net will be known as summation deviation. Now the formula is mean is equal to assumed mean plus, this is a whole number, plus summation deviation over n. So number of terms are 5. D is equal to 0. 40 is this. First we will solve this fraction, that is 0 over 5, it becomes 0. So 40 plus 0 is equal to 0. If you do with by taking LCM, no doubt the sum will not be wrong, but that will lengthen your calculations. So mean is equal to 40. Next sum is discrete series. Discrete series, like x is given, frequency is given. In this, always remember to take x from the assumed mean from the x. If you take assumed mean from frequency, your sum will be wrong, because mean is the average of this data. This is just a number of persons. So you cannot take assumed mean from the frequency, right? So in this case, again, the number is even number in the x, but we have taken the middle one. You can take 40, you can take 50, it's your choice. Answer will not differ. So first step is we will take deviations. Deviation is always x minus assumed mean. Sorry, not this mean, but this mean, because the other one is the calculated and this is the assumed mean. 20 minus 40 is minus 20, 30 minus 40 is minus 10, 40 minus 40 is 0, 50 minus 40 is 10, 60 minus 40 is 20, 70 minus 40 is 30. Now in this sum, we will have another column. In this column, we will multiply this frequency with the deviation. Earlier there was no frequency in individual series, so we didn't multiply it with anything. Now frequency is given, the number of persons got 30 or number of persons got 40. So we will multiply these deviations with this number of times. So minus 100, minus 70, 0, 100, 160 and 150. Again, we will total negative terms separately, positive terms separately, and their net will be known as summation FD. Earlier it was only deviation, now it is frequency. So the total will be known as summation FD. So now we will use the formula. It's there like mean is equal to assumed mean plus summation FD over F. Always remember to solve this fraction first. So 40 is a whole number plus 240 divided by 50, that is the sum total of frequency. When you divide it, you get 4.8. By adding in 40, mean is equal to 44.8. So mean of this series is 44.8, or if you want to round off, it will become 45. Next is the shortcut method in a continuous series. In a continuous series, the first step is to calculate, because the class intervals are given, we do not have x to find the mean. So if we first point m, that is the midpoint, so instead of this x, we write midpoints, right? So the midpoint in this series will be 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55 and 65. Now we will take a assumed mean out of this. Like in this case, we have taken assumed mean as 25. Right? So this is the mean we have taken. If you calculate the deviations, it will be minus 20, then minus 10, then 0, then it will be 10, 20, 30 and 40. So these are the plus deviations. So the next step will be, we will multiply this deviation with the frequency. If you leave this step in continuous and discrete series, your sum will be considered wrong, because this deviation is just of one number, whereas 25 stands for 20 persons, or this 45 stands for 20 persons. So this sum will be considered wrong. So it will become minus 160, minus 120, 25 multiplied by, 20 multiplied 0 is equal to 20, 25 multiplied by 10 will be 250, 20 multiplied by 20 is 400, then 55 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 10 is 300, and 40 multiplied by 5 is again 200. Right? Now we will add these separately and these separately. Right? It will become 280. So now you will find its net, that becomes 870. It is positive. It can be negative also. If the negative deviations are larger, then this can be negative also. So the formula for mean is equal to assumed mean plus summation FD over summation F. So you find the answer. Your assumed mean is 25 plus 870 over summation F is equal to 100. So it is 25 plus 8.7. So answer is equal to 33.7. So mean or average of this data is 33.7. So this number might not be a part of this, because this is a calculated one and this is an assumed one. Assumed one is always from the series, whereas calculated one may or may not be the value which originated in the series. I hope this method is clear to all of you. And if you have any doubt, you can ask in the chat box.